YouTube, welcome to the top 8 grand finale top deck list. By watching as long as you can, commenting, subscribing, even having me on in the background, that greatly supports the video. And with that said, Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Pot of P, let's get digging. Max C, change the pot of P so that they don't add a Call by the Grave or an Ash off the top of the deck, which would then be able to negate the Max C. But, you know, it's difficult because now they get to make a more informed decision off of their pot of P where they could grab a card like Triple Tactics Talent, which is already activatable. Look at the hand. So I guess a good question is, do you maxi when they're about to draw? Definitely. Do you maxi when they pot a P? That's almost a maybe. It's a maybe. I don't know. Maybe we would not have added the Triple Tactics Talent had they not chained maxi. Return back the Aratama. Lifter into the emergency. Emergency get coming into a Turbulence. Turbulence is here, sending the Airlifter. We draw on per special summon, but that's okay. This is our final special summon as we set up with the Turbulence. The ability to pop, negate, and flip face down. Now, what we could do if we weren't under Max C, we could use the Nemesis Flag for some even more crazy plays, but we don't want to give them what? Draw 3 for a Colossus on the field? Probably not worth it. Emergency, summoning from the deck. Hydrant, send a Turbulence. Okay. We don't have a Preventer in the graveyard, so this is now just 2 Disruption. Just two. Had we summoned a Preventer instead, it would have been 3 Disruption. So was it better to grab a Hydrant instead of a Preventer, which then gives extra abilities onto your back row cards? The Rescue can now be used similarly to a DD Crow in a way where you could reborn from the opponent's graveyard in an important monster that they want in the grave. We're going to contain the Caduceus, which is trying to banish a card to copy its effect, copying the Sheraton to add a Constellar monster from the deck to the hand. And the Caduceus cannot be overlaid for M7. M7 is not summonable. Yup. Because it can't be used for an Exceed. We have Lyran come to us, Skybridge. Skybridge is going to be returning the Caduceus back. We're going to extinguish. So if we read this, it states that you're going to special summon, and if you do, shuffle the targeted monster back. So I think we believed that the extinguish would stop this from summoning from the deck, because maybe it would say, return back. If you do summon, it's swapped. So it does not even stop it. Come forth and summon. Wait. Did I read that incorrectly? Am I a fool? Yes, I am. What was the card saying exactly? Shuffle. Oh, it says summon a monster with a different name. Because it doesn't say summon a monster and then shuffle the targeted back, we can't check for a different name. So even though it summons first, then returns back, it does have to be a different name on resolution, and there's no name to be different if it's gone. So in that instance where even though it summons first, similarly to something that I'd have to read Promethean Princess on, that's something you do want to check on if there is a condition on the resolution of the effect where it requires a name. We got Ptolemy here. Ptolemy get battling, big enough to take out the Hydrant. Now, we are going to be reborning the Turbulence, going into the Turbulence to make a Zeus, right? We're going to Diamond then Zeus. Constellar Telenites, further linking this up into an M7. M7 is here. We're going to detach material to then return our Maxi back to our hand. What the heck? Then make a Zeus. Recycle Maxi. And we now have 4 material, now 2, to wipe the field twice, as we already have wiped it up once. 1 field wipe plus a recycled Maxi. Subversion, push the Zeus into the back row, chain the Maxi, and let's get to it. The inherent special summon of the Diablo Star could have dodged the Maxi if it were summoned before so. And maybe that's something we should have done before the Maxi. We're going to send the Contain to the graveyard to summon our Diablo Star, activating to set up into the back row an original Sinful. We have Nemesis Flag, which is going to be adding the Corridor. We're going to send the Nemesis Flag to summon from the deck a Hydrant. We're going to summon the Fire Attacker, being triggered off of the summon of the Hydrant. untargetable from a card like Veiler as we search for a Turbulence. 4,700 damage on the field as we summon our Turbulence, which is more than enough for lethal damage, and just like that, under max C, we win it. Very well done. They were side decking a Pointer. Trap Dust Shoot was side decked. I think it's now banned. I was playing back when Trap Dust Shoot was a card. You'd look at your opponent's hand on, by going first. Not cool. And let's do this. What is good? We have negate, 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 triple monster negate. We have the Dark Knight Lancer with the full Armored Exceeds, which can equip onto the card to then equip an opponent's monster. We then have the Ptolemy, which could turn into a disruption. We then have the Ash Blossom. We also have the Altaran, but the Altaran may be enabling the Dark Lancer by popping the full Armored Exceeds. It's got, it's 6 or 7 disruptions plus a max C. Sync, are you good? Can we play through 7? Go to Bonfire. Get searching for our Poplar. Poplar trigger. Apollo negate. Impulse chain summon from the deck. We can't chain Apollo negate again. Ash negate. We have about 5 disruptions. Call by the Grave, Finger the Ash. Chain Max C. Let's go. TCG only has 1 called by, but they have triple Crossout Designate. Is that better? 3 Crossout, 1 called by, or 1 Crossout, 2 called by? Turbulence is here. We do have Apollo to negate it. Let's see what we do. What can we do? We have a ton of disruption. We have Ptolemy going into a disruptor, which is going to be a Diamond. Diamond is going to be able to negate a Dark Monster. Okay. Altaran is going to come forth and summon to get poppin'. We're going to take out that Turbulence. So that's going to be one of our disruptions here. Sirius is going to return 5 cards back in the deck to draw 1. Altaran's going to chain link block it so it does not get ashed. Wipe it out. Now we have the Diamond and the Dark Knight Lancer. And we have the double Apollo negate. Negate. About 3 more. Apollo gone, so we have the Diamond and the Dark Knight Lancer. Now, how do we Dark Knight Lancer? Ooh, what happened here? What are we full Armored Exceeding into? What are we making to play with our 2 monsters to make a Caduceus? Let's go. Dark Knight Lancer is going to be triggered right now. Get equipping with the Deltros, activate, suck up the Airlifter. And then we just had Diamond left for our final disruption to negate a Dark Monster. To battle we go, over 11,000 damage on the field. Lorisaur with Satellar Knights. I'm now committed. I gotta play this deck. Before the full Armored Exceeds, it was kind of cool, but not that great. But you are breaking the full armored combos with this, using the Armored Exceeds spell, continually re-equipping the Deltros to trigger it in the graveyard. It's disgusting, and I love it. Lorisaur had to leave. An emergency came up during the top cut, unfortunately. Lorisaur is no more. Damn. Could not play out game 3. That's okay. I appreciate you, Lorisaur. Thank you. Let's hop in another duel. Show us the Butler way. What is the best way to whip out that Butler? End phase Daruma? That might be it. And Earl GB will not see it coming. This is incredibly rare to see be pulled off, especially when you're playing against a non-Labyrinth deck. We are Lily grabbing the Purrely Street, so we're going to be untargetable on our Special Summon monster, but the Daruma does not target, so we don't care. Chain Link block the Nor, but then it reveals our trick early. Do we want to save it for the end phase? We want to keep it extra spicy, right? This is where you would Chain Link block the Nor with anything, so it does not equip set a leap from the deck. We're keeping it a secret. It's a secret. We ain't revealing. We reveal nothing. We're waiting for the end phase. We're gonna lull them into a false sense of security here, but they are threatening a UDF play now. Now we gotta do it now. We're doing it. Daruma, flip the field, face down. You're not gonna UDF, not gonna happen. Now, can Leap be used on a face down? No, this is not good. And let's read these cards. There's an important ruling here that we do want to pay attention to. This states that if a Xyz leaves the field, if a face up, it's gotta be face up and leave the field. It's gonna recycle 3 cards in the graveyard back to the hand. So we wanna get rid of it while it's face down. I think the field spell says the same thing. If a face up Purrely Xyz leaves the field, so do we have a way to deal with the Nor while it's face down instead of attacking into it? Now, this is even if destroyed by battle. So that's a problem. So it leaves the field because of an opponent's card. That's effect or battle. And is the Purrely Street the same way? This is very important. Same thing. So if we attack into it, it may be a bad idea. But the Fenrir can at least banish something like the My Friend Purrely or the Purrely Street so they get less recursion, less follow-up. Let's see what we do. Fenrir, come to me. Unicorn. We have Rise Heart, special summoning. Banish from our deck an Ogre, banish 3 cards off the opponent's deck. We're then going to be summoning a Kash Tier Unicorn into the birthing our Fenrir back onto the field. Come forth. Now, Fenrir banished the My Friend Purrely, so a regular Purrely is going to get summoned. The Unicorn can then banish from the extra deck. How many X Purrely Nors do Purrely play? They generally play 2. We're taking out the Zeus, though. That's it. We're leaving the X Purrely Nors in there because there's 2 of them. It's a bit more difficult to deal with. And then we have the Dark Armed Annihilation. We're going to pop 2 cards on the field. Very well done. Clean up this field. Taking out the regular Purrely. Goodbye to the field spell. What can they top deck into? Not a Maxi. That is not good. We had the birth to rebirth our Kash Tier is back onto the field. This is a really cool version of Kash Tier, and by really cool, it is a really degenerate version. So if you are a degenerate yourself, like I am, you're gonna wanna play this deck. It's playing Necro Valley. It's playing Metaverse to get into the Necro Valley. It's playing Torrential Tribute. It's playing Arius into Trap Trick, Daruma Cannon. It's wild. Okay, we have to set a card to make it indestructible. We're going to be able to use the Triple Tactics talent to draw to or look at the opponent's hand. We are discarding under that Max C because we got to make some sort of play. We got to do something. Grabbing a Leap and not My Friend Purrely. That is interesting. We're going to look at the hand. Arius says, no, you're not going to look at the Daruma I set to then flip your field face down during the end phase. Got him. Look at that hand. What do we take out? The Rise Heart. Oh my gosh. Like if they draw a Kash Tier, we are so screwed. It's over. And it's over. Unicorn off the top of the deck. We didn't preempt our Max C, searching for another birth, but we know there's already one in the hand. We have Theosis. We could chain the Max C too. We did not finger the opposing Max C, so this one does in fact work. How much do we want to do under Max C? Unicorn is wanting to look at the extra deck. Veiler is going to negate. This is not even negating the search. We could Rise Heart, banish Fenrir, then summon the Fenrir. They get to draw 1, but we get a Fenrir on the field. I think that's worth it, right? Because we have not normal summoned yet, so it's not just a Fenrir, it's also an Ogre. And then even though they draw off the Fenrir, I think we further commit. We go into, let's say, an Rise Heart main phase 2, or how about we just try to win this turn? Does Rise Heart have to be summoned in defense? Why? Oh my gosh, we had game? We had game, right? Game? Fenrir Banish. Oh, Theosis. My bad. It wasn't summoned from the hand. We Theosised it into defense. It has to go into defense. Looking at the top 5 cards of the deck, banishing a card among those 5. Goodbye to the Delicious Memory, which is limited to 1. Now, even though we're under Max C, we commit to the Arise Heart. Of course we do. Beautiful. Now, you remember me saying things like the Diablo Star doesn't work, the 1-for-1 doesn't work, the original Sinful doesn't work. The Purrely cards do work. They could still be activated, they could still discard, they could still summon. but they're all getting banished. So the Lily has nothing to copy in the graveyard besides the Happy Memory, which is the ideal turn 2 card to copy. So we're not out of this yet. We have the Arise Heart trying to banish the Impermanence. Going to get negated on that. Now, the quick effect of Arise Heart to banish a card during the opponent's turn is now no good. We do not have that as disruption. Let's see what we could do. Oh my gosh. Earl gaining some life points, putting us back at 1,300 life. We got Purrely. Birth is going to banish 3 cards in the opponent's graveyard face down, triggering the Arise Heart again. Arise Heart already going to be at 2 material. Very easily, it's going to be able to have the effect to quick effect banish a card in the field. This is not looking good. Okay, second material coming. And now it's got 3. Oh my gosh. It's going to be able to banish the Purrely before it even wants to activate, or you could wait for the activation, then banish it. It's good. And our third material is here. We're ready to banish. My friend Purrely, do we banish that instead? No, we're waiting with the Arise Heart. We're waiting for the activation of a Lily or a Purrely. Like that. Banish, the Purrely. The preparations could reborn the Fenrir. The Daruma is still waiting to flip the field face down. Noxumbra with a toxic version of Kashtira advancing into the top 4. Oh yeah, we have Adamancipator in the top 8 without Block Dragon. We have no hand trap whatsoever. We are playing 41 Adamancipator. And this is Rescue Ace. Rescue Ace having a great showing in today's tournament. A lot of people had enough time to test it out with the new Snake Eye cards, which were not available to Rescue Ace players in the TCG nor OCG. Preventer get banishing with the graveyard to come forth, then summon. Preventer of Sense of the Grave will summon a banished monster back onto the field. We had nothing banished to summon. We're going to banish the Preventer and Hydrant for our Turbulence as we set up a ton of disruption. We're going to have the ability to flip down, pop, negate, and we have Apollo USA, which will be negate, 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 and we have Impermanence. So we have about 7 disruption. Yep, 7. Let's go. Emergency, summoning a Preventer from the deck to, wait, send itself, not the Impulse? Okay, summon a Hydrant. That's fine. We could rescue the Preventer from the grave. Analyzer, we're going to chain rescue instead of using the Apollo to negate. Rescuing our Preventer from the grave. We got negate, 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 flip, negate, pop, negate, get flipping. We have 6 more disruption. Extinguish, get extinguish, and pop in the Guardian. 5 more disruption. Scooping with 5 more plays to make to stop you from playing. Guardian to see if you don't shotgun your Maxi against this deck, the Guardian will negate and they're going to pop off. So we have full combo, super heavy, but we can't normal summon. We think the Guardian's protecting us, but there is an Impermanence, which we would see the delay on the summon of the Guardian, then hope it's a Veiler. It is not. We got Dragite, which is going to be Spell and Trap card negate on top of our Omni negate, on top of our Ash, and that's it. Triple disruption, not as good as the 5. I think it was like 8 disruption Rescue Ace had. Imperm, negate the Baron to floor. Dragite, negate. Okay. We are now down to double disruption, Ash and Baron to floor. Not negating the Airlift or grabbing the Rescue Ace HQ, which allows an additional summon for our Hydrant, which is untargetable, but can still be Ashed or Baron to floored. Negate. We can triple Tactics Talent to force out that Baron to floor. Do we? Yes, we do. 0 disruption left. We have the Emergency to summon the Turbulence to set 4 from the deck to activate one of them to turn their set with the Hydrant. This is it. This is big. Must be summoned into defense. Why did we send Hydrants? Hello? Don't we keep the Hydrants, send the Airlifter, activate one of the newly set cards? I want this explained to me, Axe. Why? Axe, are you here? One of these would have been activatable. All right. Like, we just wanted to be able to attack, but we could have reborned it with the rescue if we wanted, if we really wanted to. I guess we already used emergency. When we grab alerts, we could activate alert the turn it's set. Alert, grab a preventer. Preventer, banish the airlifter. Preventer, get preventing. We're under max C. Are we? Yeah, we got max seed, right? Okay, if we were under max C, then sure. Rescue our hydrant back on the field. We do have the ability to flip, pop, and negate. Triple disruption. Huh? What? Non-target. So we YOLO'd. Oh my gosh, we just let this happen. I cannot freaking believe this. You excavate the top 5 for every rock card you reveal. You non-target spin them back to the deck. So when you say, I want to spin that, and this, they can't go, okay, I flip this, and that. No, it's spun back on resolution as soon as they choose what they're spinning. And you don't know how many cards they're spinning. So you have to, you gotta deal with it. And we didn't. Airlifter can chain summon the turbulence back on the field, which is not really that big of a deal. Surely Dragite will miss in a rock-only deck. Mostly rock, that is. Contain the Doki. Dragite's carrying. Dragite spun the deck. Dragite negated the contain. Dragite is the best. And Dragite's only activatable because we have a Dropsies in the grave, right? It's the Dropsies. Yup, it's the Dropsies. So if we had some way to get the Dropsies out of the graveyard, like we had with Rescue. Can you... Oh my gosh. Rescue turns off Dragite. Had we activated Rescue in the draw phase to steal the Dropsies, they can't activate Dragite because they have no water monster in the graveyard, and then you wouldn't have to waste your other disruptions on the Dragite until, you know, it activates, then you could contain it, then it can't negate your contain. So Rescue is actually a way to stop this play. There was no other water cards, right? I'm correct on this? That's crazy, that's crazy, let's go. You know, we could try to battle over it, then main phase 2, do some stuff. Access the codes. 5,300 attack. We gotta wipe out the turbulence first, or it will trigger its effect to pop us. Let's get popping. We can't chain Airlifter to the access code talker activating, even if we had another card in the hand to summon. It just like that, Adamancipator. Dragite carrying the game, spinning most of the field back to the hand, and also having the spell and trap card negate. Very well done. Poplar, get adding with the bonfire, trigger, come forth, and summon. The opponent has no hand trap whatsoever. We're going to grab the original Sinful. Send the Poplar, summon the Hydrant. Hydrant, search in our deck for the Airlifter. With the Airlifter, while we control the Hydrant, we can grab an Alert. Alert can grab from the deck only while we control the Hydrant to grab a Preventer or a Turbulence. We're going to Emergency, summon a Turbulence from the deck. And I think some people be like what? How are we like sequencing things like this? This doesn't make sense. Why like this? Well, you can cheat in Master Duel. You can, in many ways, feel out the opponent's hand. And we're feeling nothing. There's nothing to feel from the hand, so we could just unprotected without that turbulence and not care. Come forth, Link Karibo. I do showcase how you could cheat with Rescue Ace in my YouTube video on Rescue Ace. So it's a recent one, it's a Rescue Ace guide on how to cheat. And you can only really get cheated if you don't watch the video to change your in-game setting. So you just change the in-game setting to decrease the chance of getting cheated. Come forth, link this up into Apollo USA, triggering the Preventer to summon a banished monster, which there is none. So what do we have here? We have negate, 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 ash, negate, extinguish, get poppin', contain, negate, emergency. Yeah, we're not going to really be able to get out another. I don't think we can get the Preventer out and make it activatable, right? So that is going to be it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go. 6 disruption only, not counting the finger. Analyzer getting negated. Staying in the hand though. We're now down to 5 disruption only. Banky gonna search because we control a super heavy samurai, grabbing the booster. Do we negate the booster? We do not. Can't negate the effect of being summoned itself onto the field. We're gonna contain the Wakashi. That's interesting. So generally you use the contain to negate a monster, but we're not negating, we're just preventing the ability to use it with the extra deck. Then we're going to extinguish the Roxys. Now, the Roxys cannot be activated for the rest of the game. So if we get another Roxys out, it's not going to trigger. Very well done. Stuck, just Wakashi's stuck on the field. Hydrant, come to me. Airlifter, come forth. Searching for the Rescue Ace HQ. Return 4 cards that are banished or in the grave back in the deck to draw 1. We're going to grab the Extinguish in the graveyard before doing so, using the original Sinful to return back the pop or to search our deck for another Hydrant. And then we're going to get returning. Return now, return 4, draw 1. Hydrant on the field has not activated yet. It actually did. Yeah, it did. It did activate. We're going to grab back the Preventer with the alert from the graveyard, banish from the grave, come forth, our Preventer. If Preventer is sent to the graveyard, it's going to reborn the banished Turbulence. Using the newly set Extinguish that we have just set from the graveyard through the effect of the emergency, we are now using the effect of Preventer, as I said, to summon that Turbulence back onto the field. I thought that we would maybe Extinguish, then return the Extinguish back in the deck with the Rescue Ace HQ. We now have Promethean Princess reborn a fire from the grave. Preventer is back. 11,000 damage on the field, and just like that, Rescue Ace advancing to the top 4. Nicely done. Airlifter, grabbing an alert from the deck. Discard emergency, come forth Diablo Star. Diablo, one of my favorite things with the simulators is the automatic shuffling. I feel like in today's TCG, there's too much shuffling to the point where you don't shuffle if you have more searches within the same turn, even if it's not right after what you just did. Now back to you. What are our disruptions? We have Promethean Pop, Therion Regulus negates. We have negate with Apollo USA. We have Contain, negate, Extinguish, get pop, and we are gonna be able to have a way very likely to use the Preventer, which will flip a monster on the field face down. So about 7 disruptions. Let's go. We play through 7. Emergency, getting the Preventer out. Preventer, send Preventer, trigger Preventer, summon a non-Preventer. And now we do have that full 7 disruption in play and ready. Loki, 1-card combo into the Dryas. When and what do we negate? This is a free Apollo negate, right? We're gonna contain it. So the Dryas cannot attack to trigger its effect when taking damage to summon a monster from the extra deck. And its effect to search is also negated. Borea is going to attempt to summon itself by equipping the Loki. Apollo negate. We have 5 disruptions left. Mudan tributing the Dryas to then get negated. 4 more disruptions. 4 more. I'm surprised Preventer didn't flip the Loki face down. Wait, Preventer only targets effect monsters, right? Yeah, you can't flip the Loki down with Preventer. So that's actually a counter. Of course, it doesn't matter though. And just like that, lethal damage. If you're not sold yet on Rescue Ace, not that I'm here to sell you on it, but if you are, let's say, playing against Purrely, where's the thing you just summoned? Impulse actually turns off the X Purrely Nor. So you activate this, and then, so let's say you activate this. And you are making it so the player is not able to activate their X Purrely Nor. So let's say they chain impermanence to you activating. So what this could do, Valor. They activate Valor. They chain Valor to its summon, to its activation. It could then dodge the Valor by summoning a monster from the deck. Now, of course, you could Veil early, so they have to jump off early, but a lot of people may not know that. But this is a good way to turn off X Purrely Nor, or they're going to at least be forced to spin it on summon. They summon, they're going to detach 2. Maybe they no longer have 5 material, and then now you're going to summon from the deck, and then with less than 5 material, you can now affect the X Purrely Nor. Gargolo, after winning game 1, Yemo said, screw your deck. There's no way I could beat it game 2 or even a game 3 for that matter. I'm out of here. That's exactly what happened. So, no, Yemo had an important something happen. His cat's on fire. Let's go to Hot Pockets already. Top 4. Sending the impulse to special summon our Diablo Star. We have just an Ash. We're going to be careful with that Ash. When to use that Ash, do we Ash? Even though they could normal summon a Hydrant here and then just search Turbulence and pop off, it's a high risk, high reward. There's a chance that the Ash could blow them out. And it is, because now the Triple Tactics talent is forced to draw 2. If they have to draw 2 with talents and not look at your hand, I believe you made the right choice with your hand trap. Negate. Blow him out, blow him out. But if they draw into a Hydrant, then bad Ash. That was a bad Ash. The Ash was not good. If they draw into a Hydrant, oh, they have a Turbulence, so bad Ash, bad Ash. We're gonna, wait, what are we doing here? We have to prevent her banish. We have to then link them off to then get the Turbulence out. Okay. Come forth, Hida. Hida, steal from the opponent's graveyard. Come forth, come to me as we now make our Sprite Elf to make the Turbulence completely untargetable from a Veiler or an Impermanence. This is the way. Very nicely done. Set up our Extinguish to get pop and our Contain to get negating, our Emergency to get Preventer to get flipping, and we also have Impermanence. So we have Quadra Disruption. For Disrupt. We are going to summon our Diablo Star, discarding our Contain to set up an Original Sinful. We're going to Original Sinful, send the Diablo Star. There's nothing we could do against that. We could, which could have been funny, is we could have impermed the Diablo Star as it was then setting the Original Sinful behind it, and then imperm would have negated. Not on the activation, though. We're going to Ash negate the Emergency, which we don't have Preventer, so we just lost a Disruption. We're now down to Imperm, Contain, and Extinguish. Contain the Hydrant. Now, why contain it early? So that they don't normal summon a Rescue Ace, which would then make it untargetable. But it being a hard once per turn effect, we could now summon another copy, then activate the newly summoned copy. Let's go, let's go. We're gonna summon an Airlifter instead. Airlifter could grab a Rescue, which could rescue it from the graveyard. Imperm can negate the Airlifter from being able to do that. We still have Extinguish. And through all these activations, did we activate a monster effect? I don't think the Talents is even activatable. Nope. We're gonna Emergency set from the graveyard a Contain. It Containing, and it will be activatable next turn. It will now not be activatable as we have just had our monster extinguished. And I believe that is it for this duel. So to win the mirror match, all you have to do is what you do against everyone else. Resolve Turbulence and you win. Easy. Emergency, recycle the Extinguish. Rescue could rescue our Turbulence in the graveyard back onto the field. Original Sinful, return the Diablo Star, grabbing the Hydrant. Let's speed this up. 4,400 damage, rescuing it into attack position. Emergency summons it into defense. Further linking this up into Promethean Princess to reborn it from the grave back onto the field. To battle we go. Let's go. Lethal damage. Game 2 we go. Wanted Seeker gets searching for our Diablo Star, playing into a Droll, but that's okay. Diablo Star is here. We simply just have a Veiler. So if we save that Veiler for a Turbulence and they don't have a way to stop the Veiler, then we're good. So is there a way to stop? They do have Elf. Elf is a way to stop the Veiler. So if we let them cook enough, they'll just protect the Turbulence from the Veiler anyway. And the problem with Veiler is it's not Impermanence. If it were an Impermanence, it would at least have extra value to be usable beyond the opponent's first turn. We could maybe use it on something within our turn 2. So if you have Veiler against Rescue Ace, should we just activate it early? What do we think about that? Preventer, Reborn, the Hydrant, and now what's Veiler gonna do? Nothing. We're gonna summon from the deck our Turbulence to where the Elf is pointing to. If we had double Veiler, we could Veil the Elf, then Veil the Turbulence. set up the 4, and then, you know, it just looks bad. We have a Veiler that we could have used earlier in the turn that could have maybe done something. It went from maybe doing something to doing nothing. Reset up the Extinguish. Hydrant allowing us to use the alert, alerting the Impulse in the graveyard back to our hand. And let's get to it. What are we dealing with here? A lot. We have the Promethean Princess, right? We didn't do that. We have the pop, negate, and flip a card face down. We got 4 disruptions. Let's do it. 1 for 1, getting rid of our Hydrant to summon a Hydrant. Extinguish onto the Hydrant before a normal summon. We're going to Emergency. This is an emergency. We do not want this to be sent to the graveyard through the Extinguish because then we can't activate Hydrant for the rest of the turn. And let's do it. And we may as well send it to the graveyard right now through summoning the Impulse. So we now have 3 more disruptions. Impulse to make it so the Turbulence cannot activate. Contain the Poplar. So we have 2 more disruptions. 2 more. Rescue our Hydrant from the graveyard. Rescue, steal your Hydrant from the graveyard. Now, this wasn't considered one of our disruptions, but it just became an extra disruption. Damn. Rescue, stealing from the grave is going to be big. Steal their Hydrant with your Hydrant. Steal their Turbulence. Steal from their graveyard before they could banish with something like a Preventer or a Turbulence. Sometimes in many situations for Rescue Ace, they need every Rescue Ace card possible in their graveyard to make that banish play. Send Extinguish to come forth and summon Diablo Star. We got Imperm. Now the situation with Imperm and Veiler is a bit different. It could be better to hold on to the Imperm definitively for that Turbulence because it has more use than a Veiler would beyond the turn 1. We have Ash negating the original Sinful for that opportunity for the Blowout. The Blowout did not work as the 1 for 1 then summons the Hydrant. Do we attempt to Blowout again with Impermanence or do we wait for the Turbulence? Impermanence Blowout attempt is going through, and it worked. Now, why would we regret this? Well, link off Hydrant, summon Turbulence from the hand, then you lose. You would lose, or this is high risk, but very high reward. It worked. It freaking worked. Lucky, right? Or was that calculated? Max C in that standby phase. We are going to be grabbing our own Diablo Star. Damn, Gargolo's got nothing, but we do have that Max C. And under Max C, you definitely push for Turbulence. You have to, but oh my gosh. This is an expensive Turbulence. Draw 3 for Turbulence. We already give them draw 2. And the Ash is going to be able to negate the Emergency. Yup, we're waiting. Well, Alert and Emergency will both be ways to grab the Turbulence. So we negate the Alert. We then have Emergency follow-up to summon the Turbulence into defense. Yep. Going for that draw 3. Turbulence is here. Imperm is blocked by the Hydrant being on the field. So there are definite upsides and downsides to the Imperm versus Veiler. Pop, negate, flip face down. Let's go. Triple disruption. Hydrant used the Extinguish early, and then we could use the Emergency to reset it back onto the field. Looking at that hand, we're going to return back the alerts. We have 2 disruptions so far. Now back to 3. As we reset the Extinguish back onto the field, now back to you. Now, we could Imperm Hydrant. We can't. It's untargetable. Even if we could, it's not giving extra abilities to the back row cards. The back row cards are giving themselves extra abilities through the existence of Hydrant. So we did learn, well, hopefully many of you learned that from a previous duel. And we are, Imperm on Turbulence is not even a real disruption. We got Alert. Didn't Alert get returned back to the... You're supposed to cut the deck. Okay, you put it back into the deck. This is a one of. You put it on top, and now we're drawing it. Triple disrupt. Return Diablo Star, grabbing our Hydrant with precision. Hydrant is here. We're going to very quickly extinguish it. We're going to chain alert. While we have Hydrant, we could search our deck for anything. Anything. Right? Anything. Turbulence could be summoned, but I mean, we know the other disruption. We know They could prevent her flip. We know that they're going to be able to contain our turbulence. It is unfortunate. Gargolo in Axe, thank you very much for the incredible mirror match. Rescue Ace versus Rescue Ace. Sometimes it's better to disrupt before the turbulence, as you saw in Game 3. Was that lucky, or was it the correct way to play? We saw what happens when you hold on to Valor. It became useless. And we just saw what happened when we used our disruption early before the turbulence. All right. Begin. Noxumbra and Sync. We're going to be maxing in response to the Wanted within the draw phase before the inherent special summon of the Diablo Star. All right, let's get to it. Get discard and get special summoning. How much do we want to commit under Max C? We are Rescue Ace. We don't stop until we attempt to activate Turbulence. We're going to send Diablo Star, summon from the deck, a Hydrant. Nothing to stop it yet. We got the Sync. What happened? What happened? Their field didn't light up. There was no way to legally cheat to see that they even had anything because they had nothing. Nothing lit up. The lifter, alert, turbulence, let's go. What, were you actually disconnected? No way. Oh, guess that play did not work out. Nope. And it just went through, despite us having an Arius. Oh boy. So, about that. Set it up and end the turn. So, well, I mean, what we could have done, so what would happen? The emergency, we chain Arius, we set. They resolve the emergency by discarding the turbulence. You then torrential the turbulence, right? I mean, we had it. And if they would summon, then send the monster they summoned, then you just don't use the torrential, am I right? You reveal that you're giving them torrential, that you're setting torrential, right? They have to see that. But they still may get confused by it, and then you just don't torrential because they'll maybe send the turbulence on the field so they don't get torrentialed. Now, there is a way to stop Arius from torrentialing your turbulence, but no one would do this unless you see their hand and read your opponent's mind. What you could do, you would, think about this, are you ready for this? You activate Max C on Chainlink 1, you Chainlink to Emergency, they Chainlink 3 Butler, they set Torrential. Torrential misses the timing because of Max C. No one would ever do that. But that would be the way. As soon as you activate the Emergency, the Max C is not going to help you miss the timing on the Torrential. Torrential can and will be used on Turbulence. All right, let's go. Emergency into the Hydrant, send the Turbulence, alert, search our deck for an Impulse, which could respond in response to a monster effect activating. Arius is going to set up the different dimension ground. Any monster sent to the grave will be banished instead. That's false. Explain to me why it's false. Contain the Unicorn. It is also not able to be used with the extra deck. Can't extra deck use it, can't attack, you're fully negated. It's crazy. You really, when you're on the opposing end or just use Contain yourself and you stop them from using the card from the extra deck, you really realize that that almost is a better effect than negating. Rescue from the graveyard, our Turbulence, thus you cannot attack into the Hydrant. We are going to be popping the Unicorn within the end phase with the Extinguish. It is, of course, getting banished due to the different dimension ground. Emergency is going to reset up the Extinguish, making it usable again. We don't know there's a Torrential, right? There's no way to know. It did not get revealed, right? So when do we Torrential? Oh my gosh. Is Torrential coming? When are we Torrentialing? So right now, the Airlifter is Chainlink 1, and the Chainlink 2 Summon a Fire Engine is missing the timing on Torrential. So we would have to chain Torrential to the Airlifter, then they would chain the Fire Engine. Or we could have chained Torrential to the Fire Engine, but then the Fire Engine wouldn't get Torrentialed. So if we were hoping to save Torrential for Fire Engine, not possible. We couldn't do it. We have to wait for another summon. Y'all understand how the Torrential works, right? Oh boy. It's getting set up. Pray they summon. They're going to summon, right? They're not done. They're not done. This is not game, right? Oh gosh, it's game. They don't need a summon. They don't need a summon. Wait, they need a summon, right? They don't get the boost anymore. Oh, torrential tribute. Wipe the field, you fool. Oh my gosh. Okay, before you call him a dummy, the rescue ace the field spell will only boost up the field if the opponent controls a monster. If they don't control a monster, they lose 500, 500, 500. They had plus 1500. I believe they had 8300 damage, but there was a monster on the field. So the monster leaves the field. They go from 83, they lose 1500. They didn't have game, right? I mean, they did not have game. So we did not overcommit after having game. I just want to establish that, that's all. All right, fire attackers here. Send the preventer, come forth, and summon the hydrant back onto the field. Let's go. Alert. Oh my gosh. Let's do it. A full field torrential was still not enough. Unfortunately, the fire engine. The thing is, I feel like maybe chaining torrential to the airlifter was a good idea. And some of you may be thinking, it's not good because he had fire engine. We have to understand is that this is not TCG. The fire engine does not get revealed by the time you're being asked to use torrential on the airlifter activating. So airlifter activated on the normal summon, and then it was asking him, would you like to torrential this nice juicy field? And then we said no. Then they chained a fire engine, but then the fire engine being summoned misses the timing with torrential, so that's not even an opportunity to do so. So I don't know. I mean, if we did torrential early, did he have ways to recover the field if we torrentialed the airlifter? We have Theosis with no hand traps in sight. Theosising our unicorn. Metaverse is to set a Necro Valley on the field, which will be able to stop the Poplar from equipping from the graveyard. It will stop the rescue. It will stop summoning Turbulence by banishing from the graveyard. It will stop the Preventer by banishing the graveyard to summon. How are you going to even get cards in the graveyard if there's an Arise Heart on the field? We cannot activate Diablo Star. Can't even attempt it. It's just not a legal activation. The Original Sin is not a legal activation. It is illegal. We cannot do it. So what we could try to do is, Corridor, go into Colossus, which is not even big enough to take out the Arise Heart. 2600, this is the card we all want banned and we're so afraid of. Let's go. Regulus can't be summoned. There's not going to be anything in the graveyard. Subversion. That's it. That's the way. Wait. Can you Subversion if they have 5 back row? If we just don't activate our back row, can't we not get subverged? What? Just don't activate anything. Get sucking. Wow. I can't believe Subversion got countered by 5 back row. Never seen that. Like, it's just setting up that much back row, then having something subversible, it just doesn't happen. That was crazy. The counter is here. Just do nothing. Wow. Unicorn searching our deck for the Theosis. We could Metaverse to make room, and then we could set up the Daruma so we could continue to be anti-subversion. Get attaching. We should have a game though, right? Fenrir, additional summon. Birth it onto the field. Reborn the Ogre. Yeah, oh boy. 12,000 damage. Very well done. Good job. Look at all the back row. Torrential Tribute. Metaverse. Just like, guys, what do I do? My Arise Heart keeps getting Subversion. That's why I stopped playing the deck. Just set 5 and you don't have to worry about it. That's it. Oh my God. Okay, you are in the grand finale. Noxumbra to the grand finale from having 5 back row to stop Subversion. The main way to stop Arise Heart. Wow. Incredible. Is that actually planned? I would love to know. Yeah, if I were to look in the Discord, if he's actually writing up that, yeah, I play a deck that sets 5 back row with the Rise Heart, and then I can't get Subversion. Everyone else is trying to put in Forbidden Lance and all this nonsense. No, we set 5 good back row and just don't activate any of it. Grand finale, Kashtira Stun versus Rescue Ace. Begin. Unicorn is here. The opponent has no counterplays whatsoever, and a turn 1 Unicorn is a 1-card Arise Heart. 1 card, turn off the Diablo Star completely. 1 card, Turbulence has nothing to banish from the graveyard, so we're only going to really summon it through an Emergency. Emergency is going to be the only real way to summon it. What did we lose off the top of our deck? We lost an Emergency. Preventer is a 2 of. So we are okay. Some people play only 1 Poplar. Poplar is a 1 to 2 of. 1 to 2. I don't know if he only plays 1. If we lost that 1 and we draw into a bonfire, we're screwed. Holy moly. We don't care about Nibiru anymore? What's Nibiru? Nope. No Nibiru. Let's set this up. Let's get to it. Let's do it. Speaking of emergency, there is the emergency here. We also have Torrential Tribute. Airlifter get lifted off into grabbing an alert. Aren't we supposed to grab Field Spell to additional summon the Hydrant? But I guess it's a bit different here because, you know, the Arise Heart's ensuring that every card we send to the grave is going to get banished. We're going to special summon the Hydrant, then send a card to the graveyard, which will get banished. Goodbye to the Hydrant from the hand. We're going to be not activating the Arise Heart to banish yet. Hydrant's untargetable. We're going to be searching for an Impulse. Ogre's going to be triggered. The Impulse is activatable. It doesn't have to go to the graveyard like the Diablo Star must send a card to the graveyard to summon. Come forth Preventer from the deck. Now, Preventer could force the activation of the Arise Heart by flipping it face down. And you can't Torrential Tribute here because it misses the timing. Chainlink 1 is the Ogre. Chainlink 2 is the special summon. You summon, then you resolve the effect of the Ogre, then the Torrential missed the timing. We have the Shang-Ri. It's going to start locking up zones. We already locked up a monster zone. We're going to start locking up the back row now. Preventer get preventing. Arise Heart get banishing. Banish the Preventer off the field face 1. Preparation Chain summon what? The Fenrir we just banished? Wait, another Shang-Ri is on the field. Are we locking him up or what? We're going to lock, double lock? Oh my gosh. Double Shang-Ri. Noxumbra. You're crazy. And we can't summon any more additional monsters here. Alert, because we control a Hydrant, we can search our deck. You can't lock up the extra monster zone, so we're safe there. Phoenix on summon could discard. It can go to the graveyard, and it does not have to. That's fine. We're going to Trap Trick, which turns off the ability to use Torrential unless we only use Torrential. We could only use 1 trap for the rest of the turn. Daruma or Torrential is our only activations. Now, Daruma flipping down our Shang-Ri's, it's gonna wipe away the zones we've locked up. We've worked so hard to lock them up, we may as well just not do that, right? Now, the Shang-Ri, can it protect itself from Torrential? I do need to read that. If this card would be destroyed by your own card effect, you do that with your own field spell to try to pop it. Detach to protect from Torrential, but only this one. Setting up with the Diablo Star. Are we gonna do the Daruma? We are not Darumaing. Celine is setting up an Access Code Talker, which we could send the Access Code Talker to the graveyard even after it's summoned. You do want to toggle on now. Toggle on. Now, you have to toggle on. If you have auto, they're going to start activating the Access Code Talker. You can't respond to it in any way. On the resolution of gaining attack, now, Daruma has to flip down something on the field to send the Access Code Talker to the grave. So if you have a Book of Eclipse, which maybe this would become popular because Purrely's becoming more popular. I'm seeing some Book of Eclipse players. You chain Book of Eclipse to the Daruma Cannon. Daruma Cannon doesn't work. It will not send the Access Code Talker. You are then protected. So even think about playing Book of Eclipse to counter Daruma. And on top of all that, we still have our Turbulence, which will potentially get Torrential tributed. Torrential? Wait, we can't. Trap Trick locked us into only... See, it's not activatable. It's highlighted. Can't activate. Can't do it, mate. Noxumbra, what's going on? Now, resolving Turbulence is supposed to be an auto win. Is that the case? Do we automatically win? Not big enough to take out any of the Shang-Ri's nor the Arise Heart. Now, before the Arise Heart flips face up, do we have to do something? We're doing something before it flips up, because once it's flipped up, the continuous effect is applied right away. Any card sent to the grave will get banished. So we're going to rescue in the draw phase, rescue our Hydrant. Preparation's going to special summon our Unicorn or a banished monster. Unicorn's here. Okay, we have Hydrant. We're still in the draw phase. Birth is triggering to banish 3 cards face down from the graveyard. That's annoying. Huh? We're done? No, standby phase. We're going to extinguish, pop the Unicorn. Now we're done. We're not flipping up the Arise Heart yet. Now we are. Anything since the... Oh, that is interesting. To get our third material, we had to think, how do we get a card to be banished, to trigger the Arise Heart, to get the third material, to then get banishing of any card in the field? This is our opportunity to contain the Arise Heart from attaching, and it will not be able to banish. That's exactly what we do. Contain the Arise Heart, stop it from activating, stop it from attacking, and you can't use it for the extra deck. All right, all right. We could still have another disruption. We're not done. We could emergency summon Preventer, flip a card in the field face down. Are we out of Preventers? There's one Preventer gone. Oh no. Where did all our Preventers go? They're all banished. We don't have... people normally play 2 and that's it. So there's no Preventer. That is unfortunate. Did Ogre banish Preventer with its effect? I think so. I think it got Ogred. Goodbye to the Bonfire. They're guaranteed to draw into Ash Blossom unless they shuffle their deck with the emergency, which you may want to consider doing if you don't want to draw into that Ash Blossom. We swung just to trigger the effect of the Ogre. Let's get to it. And also triggering the effect of the Shang-Ri. Thus, by triggering the Shang-Ri, allowing us to summon an Arise Heart. We're now shuffling our deck, so we're not going to draw into the Ash. As the Turbulence is about to get banished, we're going to send it to the graveyard instead, but it gets banished, but not face down. So it's still interactable with the Rescue Ace HQ. Airlifter searching for the field spell, probably. I don't know. We're kind of desperate right now. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. We're going to interact not with the face down Preventers. They're stuck face down. They cannot be returned back in the deck. We can return the Turbulence that's banished back in the deck, though. Okay, let's go. Preparation, summoning our Fenrir. We don't have the Arise Heart activatable yet. In response to the Birth, Birth is going to turn on the Arise Heart. Birth is also going to make the cards we banish face down not interactable with the HQ. I don't think HQ has even anything to return back in the deck. Do we, after this banish? Probably not. And the Arise Heart is, both of them are activatable. Just like that. You banish 2 cards. We get 2 materials. We get 2 banishes, and you lose. All right, so we're gonna suck up the face-up materials. Okay, so the contain, extinguish, it's all face down. It is face down. We're gonna chain banish the HQ. That will give the third material to the Arise Heart. There we go. Rise too strong. Arise Heart itself is banned in the TCG. TCG straight up banned the card itself. It's gone. What do we have here? We got nothing. We have another activatable Arise Heart, banish a card on the field. Can we make that Turbulence untargetable? There's nothing the Turbulence could even set from the deck. Contain, extinguish are gone. They are one-ofs. You don't play any more than 1. We're going to chain Airlifter to summon the Turbulence onto the field. At 3,000 attack, it could suicide into one of the Arise Hearts. All right, get attach in. Oh my gosh. Let's go. And we are now, okay, we're triggering the effect. We're not targeting Fenrir because you used a monster effect. If it is outside of the damage step, only then the Fenrir will activate. Now get attach in, come forth, get equip in. The Arise Heart, actually, I learned something interesting recently, and it has to do with trigger effects being usable inside or outside of the damage step. And I don't want to be too open about this until I fully investigate if this is true, but you know how it says except during the damage step? A trigger effect where the card moves to trigger is activatable in the damage step. If the card's trigger is not reliant on the card moving, it can't be used in the damage step. So if a card says when banished it could activate, it could be used in the damage step. But if it's not for the card itself moving, it can't be used in the damage step. Does that apply to everything? I'd have to double check. Not allowed to surrender. What the hell was that, Axe? That's your last warning. Good job, Noxumbra. Poplar is searching for the original Sinful. Now, we could have Butlered, set different dimension, activate different dimension, then you can't use the original on the Poplar, but then you'd link off of the Poplar, then it leaves the field, then it doesn't activate, then yeah, that was a play. Should we have done that? Huh. I'm thinking that was an opportunity. Maybe we want to save for Daruma instead? Or Metaverse into Necro Valley? When is the best time and which trap is optimal? Which one do we want to use? Ita. Okay, I mean, a lot of cards are going to the grave here, and we have a different dimension ground. We're giving up on different dimension ground. We're going for the Daruma. Daruma's going to be the play. Daruma turns off the ability to activate your back row Rescue Ace cards. So even if we let the Rescue Ace resolve, they're not going to be able to activate the traps, but then they could rescue a monster from the graveyard, which will then be face up, or use the emergency, which will then be face up to then use the cards. So we're going to use This Is the Way. Oh my gosh, we just got fingered. That sucks. The Daruma would flip the Turbulence and send the rescue, send the Sprite Elf. Thus, the targeting protection here would not matter. Holy moly. She doesn't chain to her own effect being chained to. If your opponent activates a card in response to a Labyrinth card that's activating that's not herself, she'll then summon from the grave. If she was able to summon from the opponent's finger in response to her activating and dodging the Call by the Grave, that would have been nuts. Set it up. Do we auto lose? Probably. Now, if Rescue Ace becomes really popular and you're struggling against the deck, just know that the deck needs to target you. They got to target with Promethean, target with Contain, target with Extinguish, target with Preventer. It's target, 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 target. So think of cards or ways where you are untargetable to counter them. Emergency, summon. We have 4 disruptions here. We could flip, negate, pop, and pop. Plus the Max C. Yup, we got it. Oh my gosh. What can we do? Probably nothing. Set 4 end. Okay. We're going to summon a Max C. The Max C, if we used it within the main phase, the Sprite Elf could have it dodge a Call by the Grave if we were to have one. Metaverse, and that's probably too late for that to be good, but why not? We have different dimension ground also. Anything sent to the grave that's a monster will be banished instead. You cannot move cards from the graveyard. Isn't 28 plus 52 8,000 exactly? Yes, it is, but we do have Daruma. Flip the entire field face down and banish everything else. Very nicely done. Let's go, let's go. We got Pot of P against that Max C. Emergency, summon from the deck, and then if we have a face-up Rescue Ace, we're gonna be able to use Extinguish. We can then use Contain. We could also use Alert to search our deck for a monster, probably for an Impulse, right? Search Impulse, chain Impulse to a monster effect in the field, summon a Preventer, then we could flip. So we should have Negate, Pop, and Flip. And the Promethean Princess is still in the grave. We're going to Extinguish Pop. We should have about 3 more disruptions here. Grabbing a Fenrir. Contain, right? Contain. Negated, cannot attack, cannot be used for the extra deck. 2 more, no, don't attack, can't do it. End phase, get Alert in the Turbulence to our hand here. Very nicely done. So what we could do, we could have alerted into an Impulse. They activate the Fenrir, you chain the Impulse, then chain Contain, then you have a Preventer on the field alongside your Hydrant. We're gonna get airlifted, and we should just easily win this duel. They're completely out of juice. There is no more Necro Valley. Let's go. Set up the Extinguish. So now the Hydrant can do a little boop onto the Fenrir, then extinguish it, then attack with everything else if we wanted to. Or Nightmare Unicorn could just spin it off the fields. 1 more body and we have game. Where's that extra body? We have Access Code Talker. The extra body is going to be the Turbulence, which will be summoned through the effect of the Preventer. And just like that, we are good. Always try to put your Access Code Talker on the higher chain link. It's going to protect everything below it from being responded to. 8,000 damage. Very well done. Let's take this into game 3. I don't know who to root for. I think if it was a regular Kash tier deck, I wouldn't really want them to win because I do want to see Rescue Ace do well because it didn't do too well last week. But because Noxumbra's deck is so unique with the Arius Butler and all the traps he's playing, I'm not rooting for the player, but I feel like I want the stun deck to win. What do we have here? You have to play around an Ash. Is it correct to ash a pot of P or wait for the Theosis play? So they would special unicorn, search Theosis, then you negate the Theosis. Yeah, we ain't ashing. We're holding on to that ash. So we could have ashed. We could have ashed. 2 times we could have ashed, and now we ash. Stop the summon of a Fenrir. No summon for you. Fenrir grabs the Rise Heart. Rise Heart summons. They set up the Rise Heart. Then you lose to a Rise Heart. Unicorn getting rid of a Phoenix. Wow, you are dirty. You want to protect your back row. You have Trap Trick, Preparations, and Torrential. The Preparations could get the Ogre out into the field. The Torrential is waiting for a full field wipe on summon, destroy every monster on the field. Emergency Preparations is going to be ready to summon. We're just flipping it face up. We're not activating the effect to summon yet. We're waiting. Hydron activate, grabbing an impulse. So we have to think if we really want to trigger the unicorn. If we trigger the unicorn to look at the extra deck, that's going to allow us to chain the impulse to summon a monster from the deck. Are you sure you want to do that? Didn't want to do it. Played around it. Played around the impulse. Did not do so. We got the Daruma Cannon right here, right now. Does not want the Preventer to be sent to the graveyard because it would then trigger to summon the Turbulence, and then we'd have to flip the Turbulence face down. Let's just flip it down early, right here, right now. Let's go. The problem is if we have not activated the emergency yet, which we did, we get emergency, send Preventer, summon Turbulence, and then we get to, oh my gosh, did we Diablo Star? We didn't Diablo Star. Diablo Star is gonna send Preventer, summon Turbulence. Uh-oh. Yup. That just happened. I was saying to do it with emergency, but we had Diablo Star. Did we Daruma too early? Yeah, we had to flip the Turbulence. This is summoned, oh my gosh. It just missed the timing on Torrential, and you Trap Trick, so you can't even activate Torrential. This was Chainlink 2 special summoned. If we Chainlink 1 the Preventer, Chainlink 2 the Diablo Star, you would then be able to Torrential if it weren't for the Trap Trick, but not only did it miss the timing, it's not even activatable. So that Daruma was way too early. I feel like we Daruma'd because we understood that emergency was already activated. And you should know that Diablo Star is generally played at 1, from what I've been seeing, but they still do play 3 Seeker. Wait, Seeker was activated this turn. Was this public knowledge? I think we activated this, didn't we? We did. Public knowledge. We knew it was in the hand. So we played around the activated already emergency, but we forgot about the Diablo Star having the way to send the Preventer to trigger to then summon the Turbulence. Oh my gosh. Turbulence, activate. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We still got this. Let's focus. Focus up. Make the plays. Let's go. Set up for back row with our Turbulence. Is this really the end for us? You could trigger Torrential off of your own summon if you want to. Summon Ogre, Torrential the field maybe. Cope, they would still then have a rescue an engraved monster. They still have good follow-up. Oh my gosh. Do we have a fire monster in the graveyard? We do not. Nothing there. Come forth. Link Karibo. Shokan into Celine Navida with 3 spells. Between both players' graveyards, we could reborn the Diablo Star. It is... I don't want to say it's impossible to Torrential in Access Code Talker. It is impossible to Torrential in Access Code Talker that activates it correctly. If there's another trigger effect where they put it higher than the Access Code Talker activating, they could then chain Torrential, wipe it out. Let's go, let's go. Purposely keeping the monster on the field so we can't summon another one. So I believe we're going to contain it, can't attack, is negated, can't be used for the extra deck, can't special summon Cash Tears from the hand. We're locked down. Come forth Hydrant. Emergency summon from the deck. Preventer, we can now flip, we can pop, we can negate, and we have Promethean Princess 2, I believe. No, I keep thinking we have it, we don't. We had 4 Disruption. The Preventer just keeping it face down. Different Dimension Ground. Any card sent to the grave that's a monster will be banished instead. Opening up the field for lethal damage. 8,100 damage, and just like that, Rescue Ace wins it. Noxumbra, you're still great, my friend. Thank you very much. Both of you are amazing. Very well done. Let's get to it. Let's do it. Meta Weekly, 191 players. That is a ton of players. Let's check out the, whoa, Rescue Ace. I had hope that the Rescue Ace deck would potentially be the new best deck. It didn't do too well in the first week, but to be fair, a lot of people needed more time than the release day of the pack to test the deck out with new cards like Sprite Elf, testing out things like Poplar and Bonfire, with Rescue Ace being at full power alongside Snake Eye, which has been unprecedented within the other formats of Yu-Gi-Oh! So only here at the Master Duel we have full power Snake Eye plus Rescue Ace, but the deck's not done getting better. It becomes even better, much more so than other decks when Little Knight is introduced into the game whenever that happens. Now, let's check this out. Let's go to the top decks. Heroes, Frost, Dracony. 60 card heroes? What the heck? 60 cards? Are you out of your damn mind? Good job. 60 card heroes was the way, and we did it. Got a red reboot in there for our 60th card. Why not? Good job, Frost, Dracony. We then have Leerlusk, Lava Mat with Leerlusk, Snake Eye. So that does have synergy with the Where Art Thou? And we also have the Harpy Featherstorm to completely shut down the opponent. Pretty cool. Good job, Lava Mat. Appreciate you joining the tournament with an interesting deck like this. We then have Unchained. Yes, Unchained is the way. 45 cards. I wish we could just drop the deck down to 40 cards. It's just really difficult to fit in everything that we want. We don't even have room for cards like Impermanence because we have to play Droll to shut off the Max C. But, you know, that could be seen as a benefit more so than a downside. All right, looking good. Good job to you. We have Rivalry of Warlords in here, evenly matched. Nice. We then have Rikka. Rikka in the top 8. Good job, Andrew. This is looking pretty standard for a Rikka deck. Besides, a lot of people are main decking Rivalry of Warlords now. What the heck is going on with that? Good job, nothing too crazy. We then have Adamancipator. This is wild. I don't think anyone else is playing Adamancipator. I have to check the deck type breakdown. I think someone was even asking on Reddit recently, and we didn't have a good deck to showcase them. So looking at the Adamancipator deck breakdown, the last time anyone did anything with the deck within Master Rank was back in September, and that was the only player. Wow. So you, are you the same player? Chomp and Abin? No, different player, but good job. This is going to reignite the passion for Adamancipator, hopefully, within the Discord channel. So good job, Abin. You are leading the way. And it's not a Super Heavy Samurai deck. It's Adamancipator with a little bit of Super Heavy. A little. All right, let's see. Tello Knight. Lori Soar, I want to play this deck. I want it. I got the cards for it. I'm building it. I'm playing it tonight. I'm committed. It's crazy. The Armored Exceeds looping, the Deltaros continually going to the, that's not Deltaros, it looked like it though. This one, continually going to the graveyard, summoning monsters from the deck. Every time it hits the grave, it's crazy. I love it. Good job, Lori Soar. Very well done. We then have Kashtira, Noxumbra going second. This is what I wanted to see. How many Arius? You're playing 3. How many Torrential? You're playing 3. 2 Metaverse, searchable with the Trap Trick to then grab a Necro Valley. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies of Necro Valley if you really want to get to it. That's pretty nice. Good job there. The different dimension ground. We've seen a lot of situations where I feel like this card underperformed because of the fact that the monsters have to be sent to the graveyard. The Diablo Stars were still being summoned by discarding a spell or a trap. The Poplar could, if you had a way to activate in the graveyard, it would still be a continuous spell, so it would not go to the graveyard if you sent that to the grave also. But that's pretty, the Daruma, the Torrentials, those were exciting. Good job, Noxumbra, very nice. And then what else do we have here? We are then, wow, there was more Purrely and Rescue Ace than Snake Eye. We have Snake Eye from Lemon. Good job. Anything too crazy? 40 cards clean. We have Shizor with another standard looking deck besides the evenly matches. That is not standard. Banish everything face down except 1 card. Very well done with that. We then have Purrely, Ghost Trick Purrely, Earl GB, 40 cards, very nicely done. This is making me excited to want to play the deck. And then Ahmed, Dark World Accession. I wish I saw you pull this off. Maybe I'm more excited to play this instead. So that's cool. Dark Worlds with Purrely, that is nice. And then OGBG with triple evenly match with the Bystials. Very nicely done. Good job to all of the Purrely players. And then we have Rescue Ace. What is the best way to play this deck? Starting off with first place Axe. We have 41 cards, 1 Diablo Star, 3 of the Seeker. Yup. Anything too crazy, any ratios, 1 Impulse. Asian players are cutting Impulse from the Asian tournaments. I've been keeping track of that on how they're playing. And also the extra deck. We're not playing Mood Dragon. We're not playing the Terahertz. It takes up so many spots, but if you watch my video on how to abuse the trick, which it's not going to work in my tournaments because anyone who turns off the setting correctly in game, which is the default setting, so if you turn it off, then a Rescue Ace player cannot abuse it against you. So it's kind of only good if your opponent doesn't know, but then I told everyone to know. But yeah, if you know, you know. If you don't, watch the video. We then have Sync with 50 card Rescue Ace using and abusing Bonfire into Nemesis Flag, into Corridor, into Colossus. That's the way. That's the play. If you have a card banished, a monster banished, you then have that full combo with the Bonfire. So good job, Sync. Quite risky in a max format where Max C is valid. So that's a lot of special summoning. We then have Gargolo. Gargolo playing Baron DeFleur, playing, oh my gosh, the Puzzler. The puzzle into the Sargass, turn a monster into level 8, and then with the Preventer, make the Sargass, and then you grab the Regulus, then Regulus equip the Hydrant, and then with the Hydrant equipped, it counts as controlling Hydrant for all of your back row cards that gain additional effects while you have Hydrant. 60 cards, I did not know. Oh my gosh, that is a lot. All right, I thought Snake Eyes Rescue Ace did well today. I think that was outside the top cut, and that is everything. So thank you very much. I enjoyed the tournament very much. Hopefully you did too. And we are out.